Come on in, welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're counting down the 5 single most dominant challenge performances in Survivor history. I was inspired to make this video by Jonathan Young's challenge performance in episode 3 of Survivor 42. Did you know he has the world record for most pull-ups done with 100 pounds on his back? And now he's also got the world record for most Survivor tribe mates carried on his back with 3. Like some sort of superpowered aquatic man, possibly an Aquaman, he cut through the choppy ocean waters with ease during the episode 3 immunity challenge, rescuing his teammates, carrying around an insanely heavy ladder like it's nothing, and single-handedly winning this challenge for his tribe while the other players struggled to not drown and to understand ladders. No, Rocks, it's your feet that actually go on the ladder rungs, not your head. Hard to conceive, but I found in my research that there are actually 5 challenge performances that are even better than this right here. I know I usually release videos on Sunday, but I was so excited about this one, I figured I'd drop it a few days ahead of schedule on this beautiful, sunny, first day of April day. All that said, let's dig into the 5 single most dominant challenge performances in Survivor history. At number 5 is Dan's performance in the ball tossing challenge in Survivor Nicaragua. Before we get into his physical game though, let's talk about his strategic game too. He was a master of all elements of Survivor. An amazing underdog, he was constantly in the crosshairs on Survivor and yet made the end game, deploying clever strategic tricks like gradually shrinking in size until the tribe actually lost him to evade elimination. But enough about that, let's talk about Dan's physical game, one of the most oppressively dominant in history. Dan was a beast, with so many working knees and functional hips that just his mere presence struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. He's a tough dude. He even spent a night in the Pine Barrens with Chris Moltisanti hunting down a guy who killed 16 Czechoslovakians. The guy was an interior decorator. Anyway, let's fast forward to the episode 7 reward challenge for Dan at his absolute peak. In this challenge, one player from each tribe defends on a perch in the middle of the water, while the other members try to toss a ball past the defender into a net. This is for a major reward, one of the best of the season. The players will be taken to a Nicaraguan farm where they'll get a Nicaraguan breakfast. Including fresh milk, they get to milk themselves. Not that Dan needs the calcium though. His bones are perfectly not about to crack in half at any moment. At the challenge, Fabio is defending for LaFleur, Chase for Espada. Here's how most of the castaways run the challenge. Run, jump as far as you can off the platform, and throw the ball while in midair. This is a fine strategy, but Dan's about to take him to the early bird special. Insane ball control. Unfortunately, rules lawyer Jeff overrules this on technicality, because apparently you're supposed to throw the ball in midair or something. Still, it remains to this day one of the most impressive feats of standing on a platform and throwing a ball a few feet in front of you, then kind of tripping and falling into water ever captured on tape. At number 4 is Jatia's performance in the Blindfold challenge in Survivor Cagayan. Jatia is one of those challenge performers like Joe or Ozzy where it's tough to single out a particular challenge performance as the best, because all of them are the best. It's a tough choice for me, but for my money, Jatia's best performance is in the episode 3 reward challenge. Through no fault of Jatia's, the Luzon tribe have been on a cold streak in the challenges lately, so this win is super important. The Brains tribe put those big chess club brains together and decipher the challenge clue tree mail, correctly deducing that the next challenge, they'll be blindfolded. The practice for this goes really well for them. At the challenge, everyone plays their role perfectly. Tasha is the caller, sending blindfolded Spencer and Cass out onto the course to retrieve items. When the items are brought back, blindfolded Jatia is in the most important position of all, to kinda stand around 90% of the time, maybe help place items on the platform, maybe, and then help raise it up to Tasha. Like an overly oiled machine, the Brains tribe are on fire here. All 5 items are quickly received, and then Spencer and Cass obtain the tribe flag. All that's left to do is place it on the platform and raise it up to Tasha, but Spencer completely throws their lead away by first placing the flag on the platform poorly, then raising his part of the platform way too quick. Stand back, Spencer. And experts on the scene. You can't simply place this tiny, lightweight flag almost anywhere on the platform in any position at any angle and then just raise it up. It must be placed perfectly for balance. Jatia finds the ideal position way off to one side and very close to the edge after minutes spent solving physics equations in her head. But lose out because Tony on the Brawn tribe gets super lucky. I mean, this is a 1 in a million shot. He just set the flag down. They didn't even use their designated flag setter downer. At number 3 is David handling the buoys in Survivor Millennials vs Gen X. This was the first challenge after the swap in Millennials vs Gen X, and no one wants to go to Tribal Council first after the swap. Least of all, David, who, feeling outgunned at camp, has no choice but to turn it up to 11 at the next immunity. This challenge has the players each retrieve a buoy underwater, bring it to another platform, and then one player has to shoot buoys into a basket. Cece dives first for Ikabula, and unfortunately gives up a lot of time to the 2 other tribes, as she struggles to move quickly in the water. By the time she reaches the platform, the other 2 tribes have both managed to get 2 players through. Not to worry, this was planned for. Everyone knows that going second is the hero spot, where you can cover ground your first player gave up. And David steps it up big time. As if channeling Michael Phelps himself, David gracefully dives into the water feet first to maximize his hydrodynamics, and then makes short work of that buoy knot. As if to throw his dominance in the other players' faces, David at this point begins tossing the buoy all over, including into his own face. He's performing so well he feels like he can toy with the other tribe, like a cat with its prey. To add insult to injury, once he's on the platform, David tosses the buoy completely off the platform, meaning he has to jump back into the water completely out of bounds of the challenge itself. Unfortunately, David's tribe severely lets him down. Not only is there the aforementioned CC slowness, but Michelle struggles to retrieve her buoy, and Chris fails to make baskets at the end, sending this tribe to Tribal Council despite David's dominant buoy handling. David would later get another chance to show off his buoy skills at the Final 5 Immunity Challenge, which he predictably dominates, finally unburdened by a weak team. To spare the other players' feelings, the buoys are now threaded along a rope, lest David indulge his ego and showboat again. At number 2 are Courtney's chopping skills in Survivor China. In order to preserve her strength, Fei Long sat Courtney out of most challenges so that they could strategically unleash her when they need her most. Courtney's a notorious challenge beast. She has more individual immunity wins in one episode of Survivor China than James does across his 3 Survivor appearances. The episode 3 immunity challenge is a big one, so time to break out the secret weapon. What happens next is a marvel to behold. Survivor over 22 years has had a lot of chopping challenges. If we were having the chopping Olympics, there's bronze medalist Brandon Bellinger, silver medalist Bob Dog, and gold medalist Courtney Yates. The challenge is simple. Chop through ropes with a machete, release puzzle pieces, rinse and repeat with each castaway. Then the puzzle makers use the pieces to solve a puzzle at the end. Jamie and Courtney are out on the course first, and Jamie makes the mistake of going way too hard way too early, completely gassing herself. Compare that to Courtney and her strategic pausing to catch her breath. Very clever, Courtney. And another one 10 seconds later. As player after player chop their ropes and pass Courtney, all they're really doing is wearing themselves out for later in the challenge, when they have to stand around and watch the other players complete a puzzle. Courtney, as a well-known Survivor superfan before this, understands that the endgame puzzle is the great equalizer, and is wisely letting her puzzle makers fully rest. The edit does the Yellow Tribe no favors. To really punctuate their stupidity, as each member of Jean Hu cuts their puzzle pieces down, the camera pauses and zooms in on their face, as if to say, look at these dummies. Down to her last rope, Courtney shows the other tribe what they should have been doing all along, gently sawing her final rope instead of cutting it. Time for that hero moment. Well, the rope was at a weird angle. Unfortunately, Todd and Jean Robert let this tribe down at the puzzle, despite all that rest time Courtney gave them earlier in the challenge, and Fei Long lose. Back at camp, Courtney proudly displays her battle scars from the challenge as proof that she carried, practically daring Fei Long to vote her out. Did you get a scab, Jean Robert? At number 1 is Crystal's dominant performance in the pole challenge in Survivor Gabon. A former Olympian and former gold medalist, Crystal Cox is by far the single greatest challenge beast in Survivor history. Aussie who? Joey who-mazing? I mean, I already forgot Walmart brand Aquaman from the intro's name, but Crystal, the woman who exemplifies the 3 Bs, she's the queen of Gabon.
Brains, beauty, blazing speed, and brawn.
Crystal was on the Fong tribe, and unfortunately not even she could carry this tribe of goobers, losers, and misfits in the challenges. They were simply too pathetic a crew, losing every single pre-merge immunity challenge except one. Crystal, of course, was not responsible at all for her tribe's consistent failures. I mean, just look at her slaying this don't make a slam dunk challenge. Perfection. At Final 10, Crystal's free of the cursed Fong tribe when she's swapped to Coda. And watch out everyone, this immunity challenge is one that a single player can win for the entire tribe. With arms outstretched, each player must hold 2 beams against an overhead board. Last player standing wins immunity for their tribe. She's so strong that she actually pushes upwards on her beams with such power and such might that it dislodges instantly. 1 second into the challenge.
And after 1 second, Crystal is out.
This is yet another disappointing case of Survivor not accounting for the sheer physical power of their players. Like in Survivor Australia, when Mike, as if channeling Atlas himself, shouldered so much weight that his pole broke in half before he gave in. Similarly, the producers failed to account for Crystal's sheer physical strength and should have balanced for that fact. Except this is way more impressive than Mike because she broke the challenge in a single second. This is what peak performance looks like. She was literally too strong for the challenge itself. Crystal wasn't beaten by a Survivor challenge. A Survivor challenge was beaten by Crystal. Outside of this April Fool's joke, I've got nothing else for ya. Hopefully this is received in the playful spirit it was intended. Rest assured, were I on Survivor, my challenge performance would be almost as good as these 5 players. I'll be back with a real video next week, but until next time, don't get idled out.